The ring box felt heavy in Mark's pocket. It was a small, velvet-covered box, but to him, it felt like it weighed a ton. Every step he took, he could feel it pressing against his leg, a constant reminder of what he was about to do. He had been planning this for weeks, every detail meticulously thought out. He wanted everything to be perfect, just like Sarah deserved. He kept brushing his fingers against it, a nervous habit he couldn't seem to break. It was as if touching the box reassured him that it was still there, that this wasn't just a dream. His friends had teased him about it, but he didn't care. This was too important. He had to make sure everything went according to plan. Today was the day. The day he'd finally asked Sarah to be his girlfriend. He had rehearsed his speech 100 times in front of the mirror, each time trying to perfect the words that would convey his feelings. He had even practiced his smile, the one he hoped would melt her heart. He checked his watch again, making sure he was on time. He couldn't afford to be late. Not today. It had to be perfect. Mark had enlisted his friends to help. They were his trusted allies, each one playing a crucial role in the grand plan. They had spent the morning setting up decorations in the courtyard, hanging balloons, and a banner that read, "Will you be my girlfriend?" They had even arranged for a small band to play Sarah's favorite song. It was a team effort, and everyone was excited to see the plan come to life. There would be music, balloons, and a banner in the courtyard. Everything screamed promposal. Mark had gone through every possible scenario in his head, imagining how Sarah would react. He pictured her walking into the courtyard, her eyes widening in surprise as she took in the decorations. He imagined her smile, the way her face would light up when she saw him standing there waiting for her. It was all for Sarah, the girl of his dreams. He had fallen for her the moment he saw her, and every day since had only deepened his feelings. She was kind, funny, and beautiful. Everything he had ever wanted. He had spent countless hours thinking about her, dreaming of the day he could finally call her his girlfriend. And now, that day was here. He pictured her smiling face, her eyes lighting up when she saw him standing there. He could almost hear her laughter, the sound that always made his heart skip a beat. He wanted to be the reason for that smile, the one who made her laugh. He wanted to be the one she turned to, the one she trusted with her heart. The image fueled his hope, chased away the butterflies in his stomach. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves. He had to stay focused, had to believe that everything would go as planned. He had put so much effort into this, and he couldn't let his nerves get the best of him now. He had to be confident, for Sarah and for himself. This was it. This was their moment. The culmination of weeks of planning, of sleepless nights and endless rehearsals. He stood in the decorated courtyard surrounded by the symbols of his love for Sarah. He was ready to take the next step, to ask the question that had been on his mind for so long. This was their moment, and he was determined to make it perfect. The courtyard was buzzing with excitement. Mark stood in the middle of it all, his heart pounding like a drum. He saw Sarah approaching, her hand intertwined with her best friend's. He took a deep breath and launched into his rehearsed speech. Words tumbled out, a jumbled mix of emotions and promises. He finished by getting down on one knee, the ring box open in his hand. The crowd erupted in gasps and cheers.
Yes.
Sarah's eyes widened, sparkling with tears. A radiant smile illuminated her face. The world around them seemed to fade away. Later that day, Mark found Sarah in their usual spot, a quiet corner in the library. He was eager to talk about their future, about prom, about everything. He reached for her hand, but she pulled away.
Mark, about earlier, I can't.
Confusion washed over him. Mark, can't what? His voice was tight with a fear he couldn't place. The library, usually a haven of peace, suddenly felt suffocating.
I can't be your girlfriend. I panicked. Everyone was watching and I didn't want to hurt you.
Her words hit him like a physical blow. The joy he had felt just moments ago evaporated, leaving behind a hollow ache in its place. He struggled to process what he was hearing. It felt like a cruel joke. Mark, but you said yes. His throat constricted with unshed tears. The ring box suddenly felt unbearably heavy in his pocket, a symbol of his shattered hopes. Section 5. Facing the music. He spent the rest of the day in a daze, the weight of her rejection pressing down on him. Friends tried to offer words of comfort, but nothing seemed to penetrate the fog of his despair. How could something so perfect turn so wrong? He replayed their exchange in his head, searching for a sign, a hint that he had misread everything. The thought of facing everyone at prom, of being the boy whose proposal had been a public spectacle, was unbearable, but he knew he couldn't hide forever. Prom night arrived, a kaleidoscope of flashing lights and pulsating music. Mark stood awkwardly near the entrance, feeling utterly out of place. He hadn't seen Sarah all night. Everywhere he looked, he saw couples dancing, laughing, and sharing stolen kisses. The air throbbed with an energy that only intensified his loneliness. He wished he could disappear. People started to notice him standing alone. Their smiles faltered, replaced by looks of pity and confusion. Whispers followed him like shadows.
Oh, poor Mark, he looks so lost.
The scene was almost too much for him to bear. He had come to prom hoping to salvage something from the wreckage of his heart. Maybe seeing Sarah, even from a distance, would ease the pain, but she was nowhere to be found. The music swirled around him, a chaotic soundtrack to his misery. He felt like a ghost, invisible yet painfully aware of his own isolation. The night stretched before him, an endless expanse of emptiness. He couldn't take it anymore. He slipped out of the crowded hall, seeking refuge in the quiet solitude of the school courtyard. The cool night air was a welcome relief on his skin. It was a night like any other, yet it felt different. The park, usually bustling with activity, was now a sanctuary of silence. The trees swayed gently, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The distant hum of the city was a mere murmur, a background score to his thoughts. He sat on a bench, the same bench where he had poured his heart out to Sarah, where dreams were shared and promises made. Tonight it was just him and his memories. The bench had seen better days, much like his heart. The wood was worn, the paint chipped, but it still stood strong, holding him up when he felt like crumbling. And let the tears come. They flowed freely, each drop a testament to the pain he had been holding back. It wasn't just about Sarah. It was about everything. The weight of expectations, the fear of the future, the loneliness that gnawed at his soul. Each tear carried with it a wave of pain, of humiliation, of unrequited love. But with each tear, there was also a release, a letting go. The park seemed to understand, its silence offering a comforting embrace. The stars above twinkled, as if to remind him that he wasn't alone in his suffering. As he sat there, lost in his grief, he began to notice the little things, the way the moonlight danced on the water of the nearby pond, the soft rustling of the leaves, the distant sound of laughter. It was as if the world was trying to tell him something, to show him that there was still beauty, still hope. He noticed a group of students huddled together near the far end of the courtyard. They were laughing, sharing stories, their faces lit up with joy. It was a stark contrast to his own sorrow, but it was also a reminder that life goes on, that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, and enjoying each other's company. Their laughter was infectious, a melody that broke through his melancholy. He watched them, a small smile forming on his lips. It was a bittersweet moment, but it was also a turning point. He realized that he didn't have to face his pain alone. He realized then that prom wasn't about grand gestures or fairy tale romances. It was about connection, about friendship, about the simple moments that make life worth living. It was about finding solace in the company of others, about sharing both joy and sorrow, about celebrating life's milestones with people who cared. He took a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. The night was still young, and while his heart was heavy, it was also healing. He stood up, ready to face whatever came next, knowing that he wasn't alone. The park, the stars, the laughter of the students, they were all a part of his journey, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always a glimmer of hope. He wouldn't let one heartbreak define him. The pain was real, and it cut deep, but he knew that life was more than just a series of setbacks. It was about how you responded to those setbacks, how you chose to rise above them. He had always been a fighter, someone who faced challenges head-on. This time would be no different. He would not let this moment of sorrow overshadow the many moments of joy and triumph that lay ahead. He would pick himself up, dust himself off, and move on. Each step forward, no matter how small, was a victory. He understood that healing was a process, one that required patience and perseverance. There would be days when the weight of his emotions felt unbearable, but he would remind himself that every storm eventually passes. The sun would shine again. and he would find his way back to a place of peace and happiness. It wouldn't be easy, but he knew he was stronger than he gave himself credit for. Strength wasn't just about physical endurance, it was about mental resilience, the ability to keep going even when the odds were stacked against you. He had faced adversity before and had come out stronger on the other side. This time would be no different. He would draw on his inner strength, his determination, and his unwavering belief in himself to navigate this challenging period. He had friends who cared about him, friends who would stand by his side through thick and thin. They were his support system, his anchors in times of turbulence. Their laughter, their words of encouragement, and their unwavering presence would be the balm to his wounded heart. He knew he wasn't alone in this journey. The bonds of friendship were strong, and they would help him find his way back to a place of joy and contentment. A future full of possibilities, a horizon that stretched out endlessly before him. The world was vast, and it was filled with opportunities waiting to be seized. He had dreams, aspirations, and a vision for his life that went beyond this moment of pain. The sunrise over the mountains was a reminder that each day was a new beginning, a chance to start afresh and pursue his goals with renewed vigor and determination, and a heart that, though bruised, was still capable of love. Love was a powerful force, one that could heal even the deepest wounds. He believed in the resilience of the human spirit, in its capacity to love and be loved again. His heart, though scarred, was still beating, still yearning for connection and affection. He would not close himself off to the possibilities of love. Instead, he would embrace them, knowing that each experience, each relationship, was a step towards healing and growth. Life, he realized, was about taking chances, learning from his mistakes, and embracing the unknown. It was about stepping out of his comfort zone and daring to dream big. The leap from the cliff was symbolic of his willingness to take risks, to venture into uncharted territories. He understood that growth came from pushing boundaries, from challenging himself to be better, to do better. Each mistake was a lesson, each failure a stepping stone to success, and opening himself up to new experiences. The world was full of wonders waiting to be discovered, and he was determined to explore them all. Whether it was the bustling streets of a new city or the serene trails of a mountain hike, each experience added a new dimension to his life. They enriched his soul, broadened his horizons, and filled him with a sense of wonder and excitement. He would not let fear hold him back. Instead, he would embrace the unknown with open arms and an open heart. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool, crisp air fill his lungs. It was a moment of clarity, a reminder that he was alive, that he had the strength to face whatever came his way. The simple act of breathing was a testament to his resilience, to his ability to find calm amidst the chaos. Each breath was a step towards healing, a step towards reclaiming his sense of self and his sense of purpose, the weight on his chest easing slightly. It was as if a heavy burden had been lifted, allowing him to breathe more freely, to think more clearly. The sky above, vast and infinite, was a reminder of the endless possibilities that lay ahead. He felt a sense of peace, a sense of hope that things would get better. The journey ahead was long, but he was ready to face it with courage and determination. He had a long way to go, but he was not daunted by the distance. Each step forward was a testament to his resilience, to his unwavering spirit. The road ahead was filled with challenges, but also with opportunities for growth and self-discovery. He was ready to embrace the journey, to walk the path with confidence and determination. The horizon, though distant, was a beacon of hope, guiding him towards a brighter future. But in that moment, under the soft glow of the moonlit sky, he felt a sense of calm wash over him. The moon, with its gentle light, was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a glimmer of light. He stood there taking in the beauty of the night, feeling a sense of connection to the universe. It was a moment of reflection, a moment of peace. He felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. He would be okay. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to face it with an open heart and an open mind. He knew that he had the strength, the resilience, and the support of his friends to guide him through. The night sky, with its countless stars, was a reminder that he was not alone, that he was part of something greater. And with that thought, he took a step forward, ready to embrace the future with hope and determination.